break. It's a mini episode.
Hello and welcome to another Minisode of You Gotta Check This Out with Mike and Dre. I'm the Mike, and today's Minisode is all about our guest Alice Michi Lee. Alice talks about her work illustrating comic covers. We then include a few episode tangents where we talk incorrect ways to watch DVD special features, Minbari cultural appropriation, Kosh the Nimble Tank Man, and rating the best hair from each Season 3 episode. I'll see you at the other end. You're the second graphic artist we've had as a guest on the show so far. How did you get involved? Like you mentioned already, could you tell us a little bit about how you started and how you got into your niche?
I mean, it was literally a childhood dream of mine. Ever since I was probably 12 or something, I told myself, I was growing up in Detroit, and I told myself, I gotta get out of Detroit. I gotta get to where the comic books are made. That's New York City. So I defied my parents because my parents are very traditional Chinese parents. They really wanted me to go into STEM, all the academic pressure. So I actually was like the high school valedictorian and got the highest GPA. So they had very high expectations for me. But I kind of flipped that on them and only applied to art schools.
That's one way to do it, even the odds.
Yeah. So because they didn't understand English, they really couldn't control my application process. So yeah, they had no choice. But because I was also very responsible in spite of being rebellious, I applied to a ton of scholarships, and I managed to use that to fund my way through New York City Art School. So I majored in cartooning at School of Visual Arts, which is specifically training people to be comic book artists. So it was literally what I trained in professionally. So when I graduated from SVA, I got a job at a comic book shop in New York City called Forbidden Planet. And at Forbidden Planet, I realized, well, I actually cannot support myself doing art and doing retail living in New York City.
Oh no, my parents were right.
My parents were absolutely right. So I was like, what other marketable skills do I have? Because at the same time, I was also engaged to Michael Vincent Bramley, who is a future guest.
Future and Past actually this is a spinoff of the Nerd Show over at patreon.com/Jeff May. So both Mike Slater and Michael were both guests on the Nerd Show before. So
there you go. Yeah. So we were engaged, but he was in England. And in order for the US government to actually allow me to bring him over, I had to meet a certain income threshold so that he wouldn't have to go on welfare. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, you know what? I've been making websites, like fan sites, since I was little, since I was 13. I taught myself HTML, CSS. Surely that could pay better than working in retail. And lo and behold, it did.
Almost just like Jaina, too, because Jaina, we talked a lot about her earlier stuff at Babylon 5, to the Buffy, when she did all the Buffy sites.
Yes, I was doing anime sites. I was specifically doing like Utena, which was like a shoujo anime similar to Sailor Moon.
Is that they fight, they have a dueling club, and she doesn't know how to duel and somehow wins the dueling club the first thing?
Exactly. So
that
I was
theme
a big
song
fan.
is so catchy. Mike, if you have not heard the Revolutionary Girl Utena theme song, you need to listen to it. And if there's a way to incorporate it into this episode at any point, I'd give that to you as a challenge. Sorry to hijack that house.
I would fangirl my head off if you were to introduce me to an Utena song. That's how I got my start, supporting myself with a day job. And at night, I would continue to make art and, pitch it out to publishers and, send out my little promos until some of them got back to me and decided to hire me.
Yeah, it was similar for me, too, because I was always coming up as a musician. And when I was in my 20s, I was here in Chicago, and I just had a couple different waiting jobs, a couple different counter jobs. Everything else was 3 or 4 different bands at once, mostly cover bands all around Chicago, just playing bass for the most part and a little bit of keys. But it was all about just supporting yourself and trying to make that work. And I actually had to give that up for a while when I met Karen, we decided to get married and have kids. It's, I got to really have all the art be more on the side. And the same thing, I went into the computers. So I'm still a developer, but yeah, I get stuff like this to get my music outlets out.
The creative life is hard. It's hard.
I'm the nerdy code guy that just coded in high school and forewent all the other classes to be really good at to
I
just
think you
code a
got all
lot.
your expression out through chess, though, Dre. I mean, there's a lot of room.
That is much later, by the way, but that is a great intro. Oh, and yeah, last part. Any specific spots? You have some cool stuff, I know for a fact. So, any specific things for people to be on the lookout this month? Any venues, any comics, and any places to hit social media, etc.
I contributed artwork to the official Crow art book that should be being kickstarted soon, if not now. So you can probably Google Crow art book Kickstarter to find it. And in January, I will be contributing to a David Lynch themed gallery show called Somewhere in Dreams, an artistic celebration of David Lynch. The gallery opening event will be an all day from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. event on Saturday, January 24th at CTN Studio in Burbank, and it runs until February 28th. And we're hoping to get quite a few of the cast and crew from who have collaborated with David Lynch to be there as well.
And shot in the dark because we actually do have some fans in the area. Are there any specific days you'll be there if there are fans of the network, that would want to see you in person or anything like that?
Yes, we'll definitely be there for the gallery opening and maybe a couple days beforehand.
All right. So, Alice, you did, of course, watch the episode we gave you, but did you watch any other Babylon 5 before, in addition, before we're starting to record now?
I went in completely blank, had no clue whatsoever what I was in for. I was only familiar with J. Michael Straczynski because he was putting out his controversial Spider-Man run when I was working at the comic book shop One More Day. So everyone was talking about him back then.
You were on the ground when that came. What was, sorry, Mike, got to take us off ramp here.
No worries.
What was that?
I mean, people hated it. Like we had every Wednesday nerds coming in like really angry about everything. But apparently that was more of a Joe Quesada decision than a Straczynski's decision.
I was going to say that was like right after Civil War, like right after Civil War to Captain America's death, right into the Brand New Day. So Marvel had so many more readers, almost as much as they had like back in the 90s X-Men, like Gold and Blue days, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was between that and like DC at the same time was coming out with their Blackest Night run. Like it was kind of like a little mini golden era of comics.
So to briefly stay in universe, when Michael Bramley was on the Nerd Show, his first pitch was actually for the Clone Saga of Spider-Man, and we decided that was just too big for a single episode, so we did Marvel versus DC. But the One More Day storyline has come up a lot, and on a recent Nerd episode with TJ Shevlin, who actually makes comic cards, Marvel and DC for Upper Deck, we brought up the One More Day. So the Spider-Man One More Day run, whatever you want to call it, it's somewhere in the ether, Mike, in the nerd ether, and you got to check this out. So putting in a pin in that you had like firsthand experience. I know Michael is a huge fan of Spider-Man as well. Something we'll have to revisit. That is so cool. And last type, JMS, as of recording, Michael, is actually releasing a new Spider-Man run like as we're recording. So I think we've got some cool runs. It's in the past for anybody in the future. Obviously,
I was going to say I've softened over the years on that. It was in that episode, but it was the same way how I feel. Like I was so enraged when that first came out too, because especially my wife and I, we had dressed up for multiple Halloweens as Mary Jane and Spider-Man. I had the full Underoos body that I would go on, and she had You Just Hit the Jackpot Tiger word balloon that she would wear that came off her head next to me. So yeah, we were pretty close to that at that time, and I felt that they had been the kind of the power couple of Marvel for so long, and I'm sure so many other fans did. But over time, I've softened a lot on that because JMS really did the best of what he could with the story and really gave, like it was said in that episode, I don't want to reiterate too much, but giving Mary Jane the decision, the one to end everything. It was a really rare thing to do, and I thought it was the right choice given what he had to do with that episode, with that issue.
So if you're in November and you weren't paying attention October, you definitely need to check out Rebel Moon Nemesis, the variant cover for some reason, as well as if you're a Spider-Man fan, JMS is back on. And then, if you want to say anything about the Rebel Moon, that is so cool, Alice.
Oh yeah, it was actually released, I think, back in July, the first issue. So now there are a couple of issues in, so it won't be my cover.
Okay. But oh no, that's even cooler. So you're saying yours came out in July. I'm going to find out it's September here. I'll see if I can still find it in store. If not, I'm sure I can get a back issue. But how did you get that cover and what was that like working on like a Gail Simone title? That's
Oh
so
my
cool.
gosh. Yeah, I previously worked with Titan Comics on a few projects. I literally met them at a convention, gave them samples of my art, and then they reached out to me to do their Alien 40 Years, 40 Artists art book. So I was extremely lucky to be one of the 40 artists they chose for that 40th anniversary book. And then a couple of years later, they reached out to me to do a cover for their Life is Strange comic book adaptation. That one was written by Zoe Thorogood. And then, yeah, they've just kept me in their stable. And so earlier this year, they reached out and asked if I wanted to do the Rebel Moon cover. So is every time they email me, I'm like, yeah, definitely would love to work with you. And I was super excited.
I swear, Mike, I'm not just using this as an excuse to keep promoting the nerd show. Admittedly, amazing guests such as
No, it's
Vincent
what you
Bramley and
do,
Mike
Dre.
Slater. But the next nerd show I'll be recording is actually on Alien and Aliens. I have never seen either movie. That's part of why we're doing it. And yeah, this Alien 40 Years, 40 Artists is really reasonable. And I have to do some research, and that's a business justifiable expense. So that is just to absolutely promise, Mike, this was not planned. But yes, so many things already to check out. Rebel Moon
It's
cover
all
one.
connected, Dre.
The
So much
Crow,
synergy.
yeah, the Crow art book.
Yeah.
That is an amazing Kickstarter. And then of course, Alien 40 Years, 40 Artists. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up. So that's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very
And
neat.
it was definitely such an amazing experience to work with Gail Simone. I feel so lucky to have been able to read like all of her scripts in advance. So I know definitely like that series is top-notch writing. I was like moved while I was reading it. I'm very excited for everyone else to experience her story. It's a prequel to the movie, actually focusing on that character Nemesis.
Did you get to work directly with her on it when you did the cover, or did you like correspond with her on some ideas at least?
Not exactly. I corresponded with her afterwards,
Hmm.
but I mostly corresponded with the editorial team, and they were acting kind of as middleman with Zack Snyder's team as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, when you do this, is it more of a freelance thing? Do you have any kind of representation that you use, or is it all just when they decide to reach out like that because they've used you before and they kind of have you in their stable, like you said?
Yeah, definitely the latter. I
Hmm.
am not agented. I think most comic book freelancers don't have agents, so that's just how it works.
All right. Well, another amazing guest, Mike and Karen, you both book amazingly well. Let's get on to the show. And because
Well,
it
it's
is
all the email geeks. It's all through
Yes.
the email geeks, people. You got to give them the credit.
JMS, I guess, has a record of writing every episode this season, which had never happened before in network television. Incidentally, we normally plug the DVDs as the best way to watch the show. Your local library probably has them. There is a special feature on the first disc of this DVD set, Mike, that says Intro to Point of No Return that spoils the entire season. It's one of the worst special features I've ever seen. It's like, how can we cram
It's
as
not
many
more of an
spoilers?
intro, more of everything.
Everything. So, just as an FYI, if you do get the DVD box sets, do not watch the special features until you've watched the episodes normally. But yeah, season one was more Monster of the Week to start. We've ended
Drake,
up
not everybody watches DVDs like you do and just jumps into the special features. Most people actually watch the movie or TV series
It
first.
says, I'm going to push back. Alice, can you be the tiebreaker here? And remember how nice of a judge Mike was during the quiz. If you saw a special feature that said Introduction to Points of No Return, would you think that was something you could watch before the season, especially if it was on disc one?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not even trying to be biased because you were on my side in the quiz, but yeah, I would.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Goes around.
After Bester comes out for his introduction, we have Veer coming back from his ambassadorship at Minbari to meet with Londo for the first time in a while, I think, as was assigned there. He's actually wearing what I thought was, I didn't think it was. I mentioned it as a dashiki because he's doing some kind of cultural appropriation coming back from Minbari. But Alice, you had a much better term for it in the notes.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, well, that's obviously inspired by a Chinese tong suit. I'm Cantonese, so I would pronounce it tong zhong. But yeah, it has that kind of silk brocade kind of look to it. And it made sense because even though I only watched this one episode, I did look up these different alien races to just kind of orient myself. And the Minbari were apparently supposed to be kind of like analogs of East Asian culture.
Yeah, so that came right through in the fashion. And I've noticed that fashion stuff goes right over my head in all these episodes.
We get one other thing. This is my favorite thing. This is like the third instance on our show in particular, Mike, this has happened, which is Haydn Kosh, which is Jakar has that vision. I'm sorry, I've learned my ways, right? Spirits take me back. Is there still time for Christmas? And in his jail cell, Kosh is there, looks on and leaves. And Kosh is in this giant mech suit, super slow moving. And multiple times on the show, he sneaks up on people. And I just love the behind story logistics of like, how did this heavy breathing giant thing sneak up on
like
people? And he keeps doing it. This isn't the first time. And behind the scenes, he was too big. That costume was too big literally to fit through doors. So for scenes, they would have to, remove the scaffolding, let the thing in. But the fact that in show, he is one of the most like stealthy characters is just hilarious to me. Absolutely. I've got one more comment before we kind of get to the wind down. Mike has been grading the hair this season, which I absolutely love, and I cannot wait for the article.
We need something new every season. Last season, we got really into the Shatner-Picard index. So this season, as soon as I saw that beautiful boy Marcus and his streaming locks of hair in the intro, I knew I'd be rating hair.
So yeah, and a classic trope on this show is I often disagree with some of Mike's takes. So there's already one episode where I say Mike got the hair wrong. It's Ivanova, it's not Marcus. Mike still gives Marcus the best.
It's always Marcus. Marcus always has the best hair, even if you didn't see him in the episode.
Because he's in the intro. But I'm going to disagree. So we do have the best non-Marcus hair for this episode is Bester's toupee, which is true. Like, it is very funny to watch it. He is really bald on top. It's awesome. And yeah, clearly he's not going to have, at his age, right? He's in 50s or 60s at this point in the show.
He's not going to have hair like that.
He was hired to Star Trek because he had like monkey's hair in the 60s, like the band The Monkees. And so it is funny to see.
No, it was a transplant. He had monkey's hair. It's like one of those gorilla hearts on the outside.
Anyway. So yeah, that's the last line here is Bester's toupee wins the non-Marcus hair award for the episode.
And that's the rest that's fit to air. Join us next week for a full episode where we cover Babylon 5, Season 3, Episode 10, Severed Dreams with MVB. Cheers, all.